Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Palestine. Oh yeah, what's happening? Assalamualaikum guys, today we're going to do a little social experiment where we're going to be asking the question how people feel about the war, the invasion, the occupation and the killing of innocent people that's been happening. Let's see what reply we get. Yeah, so how do you feel about the war, the occupation and the invasion that's happening?
Putin, he's a dickhead.
I'm talking about Palestine.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
You said the war.
Yeah, why is there a war not happening in Palestine? An invasion or occupation? Okay, so how do you guys feel about the war, the invasion, the occupation and the killing of innocent people that's happening?
Oh, I think it's
disgusting.
disgusting. Yeah, it's wrong. Why is Putin doing this? Putin's doing this because...
Why, who's doing it, sorry?
Yeah, Putin is doing it.
Oh, sorry, how do you feel about the war, the occupation, the invasion and the killing of innocents happening?
It's pretty rough. I mean, at the end of the day, Ukrainians haven't done anything to Russia.
Say that again?
At the end of the day, right, Ukrainians haven't done anything to Russia.
Okay, guys, so how do you feel about the current war, the invasion and the occupation that's happening?
I mean, it's not the best situation for anyone, really. It's devastating just to see what's actually happening. And
Who do you think is that blame here?
Putin, he's committed war crimes.
Who has?
Vladimir Putin.
On the occupation that's happening and the killing of innocent people, how do you feel? And who do you think is to blame?
Russia's to blame.
Okay, how do you feel about the war, the invasion, the occupation and the killing of innocents?
I feel what I've read, there's no real reason why he should have invaded Ukraine.
I've been watching you a lot and I don't agree with the stuff you've been doing. Let's ask the question. Turn around, please. Lady Gaga, how do you feel about the current war that's happening?
She thinks we support Ukraine.
It's hateful, but what to do?
Yeah? Who's to blame?
I don't know. Probably Russia, but...
How do you feel about the war, the occupation and the invasion that's happening?
I still think it's a bit scary, isn't it? Like, there's a bit of a threat to us over here. You know, they've got the...
over here?
We've never... Well, I mean, there's the nuclear threat, isn't there?
I'm talking about Palestine.
Palestine.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, what's happening with Ukraine is disgusting. As Muslims, we're against any kind of oppression towards anybody. But I'm talking about Palestine. I was just talking about Palestine in this specific experiment. Sorry, I'm talking about Palestinian.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about the Ukraine thing. I mean...
I'm talking about Palestine. Like what's happening in Palestine. Yeah, Ukraine as well, that's terrible, 100%.
Oh, well, that's the point is...
No, it's okay. What's happening with Ukraine, I'm 100% with you. Yeah. It's terrible, it's disgusting. But also there's wars going on besides that as well, like in Palestine. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Palestine, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
What's happening with Ukraine is absolutely disgusting and we're against it as well. But we're just talking about there's other wars happening as well. So like with Palestine, you know, Israel, the occupation, the killing and the innocent. I'm talking about Palestine.
Palestine.
Yeah, are you guys from Ireland? Are you from Ireland?
No, I've got family in Afghanistan. Nothing has got to do with you, Palestine.
but I
but free
fuck
Palestine
Israelis,
all day,
so
every
I'll be
day.
Israel.
I feel like they are being ignored. You know, Ukraine is in the spotlight.
Russia.
Oh, I'm talking about Palestine.
Oh, are you? I'm not here. No.
I'm talking about Palestine.
Oh, I thought it was a...
Now, Ukraine is terrible as well. What's happening there?
Yeah, no.
Totally against it, but also...
I'm not so sure because the media doesn't really cover it.
Talking about Palestine. Oh, you said over here. What
about Palestine? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought you were talking about the Ukraine...
Oh, yeah, that's happening as well. It's current and it's terrible what's happening as well. But like with Palestine and, you know, Kashmir, like for example, India has been occupying Kashmir as well.
Oh, no, I don't know much about the Palestine.
In regards to that, I think with what's going on in Palestine, it's kind of being overshadowed by what's going on in Ukraine. And maybe that's because the culture here is mainly westernized and people don't care as much about what's going on over there.
No, away from that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, the reason I've done that was intentional.
Yeah.
I done that because the thing is, the moment we mention war, invasion, occupation, killing, the first thing people comes to their mind is Ukraine, rightly so. But the Palestinians have been forgotten. That's the reason I'm doing this, because the moment I mention...
The world is, you know, supporting Ukraine and we forget about Palestine, don't we?
Exactly.
So
What's your name, sister?
My name is Anne-Marie.
Sister Anne-Marie, you know the reason I did this, because the moment I asked the question and say, how do you guys feel about war, occupation and killing, they say Ukraine. I'm like...
Of course.
I'm talking about Palestine.
Palestine's a little man now.
Exactly.
Palestine, you know, we still need to be aware that Palestine is, you know, it's still a huge thing that people need to still be known and made aware of. So all I can say is free Palestine.
How do you guys, can I ask you guys a question? How do you feel about the media's racism? Because I've been watching the media, I don't know if you guys have been watching it, but they use words like, for example, these are blonde-haired, blue-eyed children, we're a civilized nation, these things happen in third world countries. Do you not feel as if they're trying to tell us that the bombing happening in third world countries is okay, but what happens in Europe isn't. Do you not think that's dehumanizing human beings?
Definitely. I think in that country it's made more normal for it to happen, whereas in Ukraine it's more of a shock.
Yeah, it's definitely just not talked about enough. It's because it's in Europe, it's in your forefront, and you're worried it could happen to you. Whereas when it's in
Middle East,
anywhere else, you're worried it's not.
My son is half Afghan, and look what's happening in Afghanistan. You know, they're also being forgotten about.
And you know, Tony Blair actually went to war with the Iraqis and actually lied about weapons of mass destruction. It's no worse than that. Okay. And 100,000 Iraqis were killed as well.
That's interesting, because the moment many people that we interviewed, the moment I mentioned war, occupation, the first thing they think is Ukraine. But you talked about different wars.
I'm saying that the war in Ukraine with Putin is no worse than what Tony Blair and George W. Bush did with Iraq.
What about people in Palestine, in Yemen, and different parts of the world? For example, how do you feel about the racism in the media? Because there was one of the presenters was saying that basically these are blonde-haired, blue-eyed children dying. And I thought, what does that mean? Blonde hair, blue-eyed. Of course, whoever dies is a child. I don't categorize childs to black hair, brown eyes. So do you think there's some racism in the media?
Yeah, well, that's evidence anyway in the media. Not even just in if you're going on a war in Palestine.
It's not right at all. Any sort of thing like that, it's not right.
Exactly.
And I feel that it should be stopped right away.
Okay.
In the right way, though.
The right way, yeah. So, how do you guys feel about the current war, the invasion, and the occupation that is taking place?
Well, it's not very good at all, honestly. But I've got an idea of how we can give boost to morale and get it out there into the public, because it's not really known to quite a lot of the people here, because it's it's on the news, but the Palestinian war is not on the news as much as the Ukrainian war. But I feel like implementing it into media would be really good. So Squid Games, for instance, it's a really hit show. It's got millions and millions of views on Netflix. If you implement bits of the war and what's happening into the show, and kind of just make it, people get awareness of it and they know what's happening.
I think Israel has caused more crimes than Nazis ever did since Second World War. Israel.
Yeah.
And I do feel sorry for the Palestine state.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to school with people from Palestine.
Interesting. Okay.
Years ago, back in the 70s.
Okay.
Which
that's
is
the
sad.
point. Well, that's the point, because the moment I mentioned war, occupation, invasion, the first thing that comes to our mind is Ukraine. Rightly so.
Yeah, I'm from Cyprus, so I'm next to it, so I heard a bit about it, but it's not as documented as it should.
Innocent people are dying.
Palestine's awful, man. I mean, it's been going on for a long time. I don't know as much about it as I should do, but it's. I mean, from what I've heard about it, it is horrendous, and Israel needs to be able to account more.
100%. Why do you think the moment I mentioned war, invasion, occupation, that Ukraine is the first thing that comes to our mind, which is important and it should?
No, you're right. It's just because it's so pertinent at the moment, because it's so current. But you're right. It shouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind. There's wars going on everywhere across the world.
I've known about the media's bias. They always talk about stuff, but they don't talk about they're talking about Russia, but they ain't talking about the Middle East.
Exactly, that's my point. Is the Europeans' lives more dearer than the people in the third world countries?
They're all the same. It should be the same for everyone. Yeah, okay. And they're just focused on Russia and just Russia. Yeah, okay. But they ain't talking about the Middle Eastern or nothing. But Putin, so what country was it? They said £1 billion to kill him. I'll do it.
I have no idea. You do it for free?
I'll do it for free, brother.
Okay, Martin.
Give me his address.
I don't know it.
Give me it.
Russia. I have no idea.
No, find it for me, I'll dead him off, brother.
No, I don't think you get the point here. We don't need to carry on further. As you can see, the double standards, we are not doing this to undermine what's happening in Ukraine, because I'll be honest with you, I probably maybe dislike Russia, Putin, should I say, Putin more than the president of Ukraine. So how you doing, okay? Just give me 1 minute, yeah? So why? Because at the end of the day, even though the Ukrainian president is somebody who supported Israel, but I don't think he's directly killed innocent Muslims. Putin has. So this is just to show the double standards of the media. Hope you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends and family. Till next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.